the capacity of knowledge to this to bring nothing but testimony to you for bringing us here from a different decision. Some of us were going to work, some of us were in this area, but I have come together to worship you this King of glory, we thank you also for providing for us, for providing the safety of this life for the children. We say we Father, we pray that only where the vaccine goes today, we know that while the sort of our friends, with our customers, or with our colleagues in our workplace, the vaccine goes more of further. But I will think on this for you to help us so that what we are going to do this Father, our sin will not stand as a people, but rather we will think to remain glory at the end of this service. We also pray for you and I think of the way from the Father to bring them there so that they will join us to see these places. And we will pray for those that are here to give us the this week and those who help us so that nothing will distract us, even while this is going or while this is going so that at the end of the day we bring our teachers today here tonight for you to guide us. Teach them, Father, to the glory and teach them to be from God in heart so that whatever they go to see, be directly from you. And they will speak whatever they have directly to say, and they will keep quiet whatever they the Lord. We pray that you also will speak that you can hear and speak, but it's not the right but the words of the Lord. There you go and be a man of money, for all to do and do. Heavenly Father, some of us will not like to come here because of one thing or other. So we have to tell the senses. For some of us, we don't decide to come simply because of the one want to come, we will not to say. Our Father, we pray for Lord for you to help us, Father, to the prayer. We give their mind, Father, and show them the reason to school together, especially the command that will be to us, not to forsake us, but to forsake. Father, to give them the knowledge and other things for them to see the reason of our God this evening. We also pray for those of us who Lord Father to pray that whenever we get the word, we always keep it at the door, especially for maybe on the days while we go home and give Christ and that. We pray that we help us to Lord so that after the day there will be a change in our life. Take care of our Father to the Lord. We pray that whosoever will not be used to the moderator and the top leader, anybody that will not be used shall be for the best of the Lord. Thank you for prayer and service. Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Let us be seated. Good evening once again. We thank the Almighty God who made it possible for us to be gathered here this evening. Since last year, we've been treating the theme "My Career, Job, and Financial Prosperity," and today we are going to be wrapping it up with a counseling session on choice of career and course of study. The key focus areas we'll be looking at or discussing on is career choice and direction, UTME course of study, navigating job search opportunities. We will start by apologizing to our panelists. We are supposed to start at 5:30, but as it is, we'll just move straight to the agenda of today. We'll start by introducing our panelists. With me, we have Brother Godwin Ekpodikpo. Brother Godwin Ekpodikpo serves faithfully both in ministry and in youth development. He is a minister of the Lord at the Church of Christ, Chinedu, where he invests deeply in leader discipleship and life formation. Godwin is also an experienced career counselor, helping young people think critically about their strength, opportunity, and long-term goal. Brother Godwin's work is rooted in understanding people's gifts and guiding them towards pathways that align with both personal potential, reward, realities. Today, he brings the same heart grounded in service and practical wisdom to our discussion on course and career. Let's do well to put our hands to Brother Godwin while he comes forward. In our midst, we have Sister Chioma Oludimu. Sister Chioma Oludimu is a distinguished leader in Africa's financial technology landscape. She is the Vice President of Global Operations and Managing Director of Yellow Card Financial Nigeria Limited, where she leads strategic and operations for one of the continent's most impactful fintech platforms. Chioma's career journey started in law and evolved in fintech, blockchain, and digital assets, a transition that speaks to both adaptability and vision. Her works involve navigating legal, regulatory, and business landscape across multiple markets to expand access to financial solutions. Her voice today brings real-world insight on leadership, innovation, and how young people can position themselves for opportunity in dynamic industry. Let's put our hands together while we welcome Sister Chioma. Welcome. We have Brother Chinedu Onyekwelu. Brother Chinedu Onyekwelu is a seasoned professional with deep experience in business consulting and strategic operational leadership. He served as an associate partner at Ernst & Young, EY, Nigeria, with over 18 years of experience in consulting and industry insight. A chemical engineering graduate and supply chain specialist, Chinedu spent many years building expertise in both professional service and the oil and gas sector before rising through the rank at Ernst & Young. His journey highlights the value of adaptability, analytical thinking, and long-term growing, making him uniquely positioned to speak into career pathway, industry expectation, and how young people can craft resilience plan in an evolving job market. Let's put our hands together while we welcome Bro Chinedu. With introduction this evening, you see that we have wonderful and well-equipped brethren to speak to us this evening. We'll be discussing on choice of career and course of study, focusing on career choice and direction, UTME course of study, navigating job search and opportunity. We'll go straight to today's discussion. We'll start first with Bro Godwin. Sir, we have a series of questions. I urge each and every one of us to please pay attention. So we'll be asking a series of questions to our panelists, and we'll be hearing their feedbacks, their experience. They'll also be sharing with us their life experience, their journey, how they've navigated, starting from when they all started to this point. To Bro Godwin, in 3 to 4 minutes, what is the biggest mistake Nigerian students make when choosing a course? We just want you to share with us. Okay, before...
Good evening, everyone. Yeah.
Okay, before that, we would also want you to tell us about yourself, just a brief intro while you also answer the question. Yeah.
My name is Godwin, son of Frank Ekpodikpo. I am a teacher. I'm a preacher. I'm a trained counselor. and I'm also a postgraduate student with the University of Lagos. I've been working with young people, family, and adolescents in particular. In my secondary school, I started as a science student. I actually completed my SSC as a science student, truly. But today, I'm not in that again. I work as a preacher, as a counselor, as I've said. Before I actually answer the question, I have a test that I wanted to give so that when I answer the question, it will be that you will see yourself in the question. I wanted to share it so that you can help me feel within 5 minutes so that I look at it, then look at you too. You also look at yourself, especially for those who have, even if you have had a career or about to, especially those about to, that will help you along the line. Having said that, sometimes most people difficult to counsel or guide are very talented people. We call them the gifted people. Sometimes because they can do anything. You take them to sciences that are fine, arts that are fine, commercial that are fine. At the end of the day, they tend to be confused because they are fine every level. With maths that are fine, you want them to read, they are good. One set of people that sometimes get confused along the line are the gifted and very talented. The other set will be the one that are struggling in such a way that people even think whether they can make it. And sometimes they say, okay, leave school, go and learn work. As if someone can learn work without a brain. But these are difficult people too. I believe, so long as a child can remember his name, that child is good. If a child can call the child and he remembers that name to answer, that child can become something. Because that name was not with that child while he was in the womb. It got stuck somewhere. And so if something is done with that child, growing up, more work will be done, that child will become someone very important. So I want to say this, while if you can give us 5 minutes so that they fill this out and then we use it to, as they talk, we also help them. At least we have one or two can say, come out, tell us this, and then it will also help us with answer so that it will be practically guiding, especially those who are about to choose a subject combination of this in the university. That will help them too.
Why we?
Some other thing we can say.
Okay. Why that is going on, we move to Sister.
I can tell you what to replace. Just give me one so that I can, let me tell you what you should do. Because they are looking at it. Just give me one of it. Okay, this is what it looks like here. So what you see here, you have 1 to 5, 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. There's no wrong answer here, and there's no right one. Everyone is actually correct. And so what you do, just pick one, just circle one. You notice that the first question is, I feel deeply moved when people are hurting. Whichever one. If you do not feel very well, you can circle one. If you feel very well, sometimes you even join them to cry. That means 5 for you. Are we together? Do you understand us? Okay, so you just feel that one. I hope this is not clear enough. Are all like this? No. Okay, so you have that one to D as section F. You can do that one, just feel quickly. And then whoever finishes first, use that one to as a template to talk.
Okay. While we are doing that, we'll still come back to Bro Godwin on the question which we asked, what is the biggest mistake Nigerian students make when choosing a course? We'll move to Sister Chioma and we'll want Chioma to please introduce yourself to us. And the question you'll be answering for us is, when you were 17 or 18 years old, how clear were you about your future?
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sister Chioma Oludimu. I'm a lawyer and I'm a member of Church of Christ Ikeja, right? So to the question you asked, when I was 17, So 17, I was still in secondary school at 17. I think so. I think I was still in secondary school at 17. SS3, SS2, I can't remember, but thereabouts. So at that age, I was sure I was going to read law. I don't know about my future, right? But I was sure I was going to read law. And I made that decision, or I had that inspiration because of my experience and my environment. So starting from when I started secondary school newly, being the last in the house, I had my senior ones, most of them were in university, and I happened to be almost, okay, myself and my immediate elder brother and the girl too. So about 3 of us out of 7 were still at home, while others were still in the university. So being the last in the house, I was the one cleaning the house, right? And I went to a unitary school, I went to a boarding school. So when I come back, everybody will know I'm around. And on a Saturday morning, if I'm cleaning the house, you dare not wear your shoes and come in. Even if you like be 100 years old, right? But you shouldn't wear your shoes and come into the house and dirty where I've already cleaned, right? I was bold enough to tell you to go remove your shoes. So people around me saw that in me, and they believed that I'm very bold. I'm not afraid of people, and I also have the ability to speak up for myself, right? And once you have these attributes, people usually tell you, you should go and study law. This is our lawyer, this is our lawyer. So from there, I formed that desire to go study law. So right from that young age, it was as if that was my formation age. Sorry, that was my formation period really. And because of what I had people say about me and what I feel about myself, I knew I was going to do a course where I would defend myself and defend people. So at that age, it was as if I have discovered myself at that age. Not because somebody spoke to me, not because I had a mentor, but because of my environment and my understanding of who I am. So I formed that idea of going to study law. So at that age, 17 is actually quite late. Probably at 13, 14, I already knew that I was going to be a lawyer, right? So I would say at that age, yes, I already knew I was going to study law. And it was because of my environment, what people said about me, and what I thought about myself. So you talked about future, but if it's in terms of profession, I sure know that I was going to do law. But future, I wasn't sure what the future holds.
All right, thank you very much for that wonderful answer. Well, I have a follow-up question to that, but I will come back to you. Let's move to Bro Chinedu. Sir, you kindly introduce yourself to us. And the question I want you to answer for us is, how did you decide on your course of study initially?
KJ youths, good evening. And some people are online, right?
Yes.
And those also online, I greet all of you. My name is Chinedu Onyekwelu. Originally, I was an engineer. And at the moment, I'm a business consultant. I'm actually a partner with Ernst & Young, one of the consulting firms. I'm not an associate partner. I was an associate partner as 2 years ago, so your details is not updated. So right now I'm a partner with Ernst & Young. I wasn't really clear like her, like she answered. What I knew that was growing up, I don't know, my cousins, my parents, and some people would say this one is going to be our doctor. Maybe because they felt I was smart in primary, early secondary, they will assume that I was brilliant enough to be a doctor. Somehow, that thing was kind of, I didn't say that I wanted to be a doctor, but they were telling me I was going to be a doctor. I was beginning to believe it somehow. would have been a bit of a hindsight. I would have been a horrible doctor. Because I would have been one of those people that they are bringing accident victims. I'll probably be running away, right? So they were telling me I was going to be a doctor. And I got into SS1. I say it all the time. For my SS, I went to a special science school where the first class is SS1, no junior secondary. All right? For the first time, I was really doing the science, chemistry, physics, biology, and the rest. And I started with biology, and I hated it. It was too boring and too slow for me, you know. There are some terminologies, and we were telling us levels of organism, fighter, fighter. I look like I'm going to cram this. Until now, I can't cram anything, right? So I asked fighter, who am I fighting? I found it very boring. Unlike subjects like physics and the rest. In my SS1, I knew one thing. I knew I was not going to be a doctor. So if there was something I knew in SS1, I knew I was not going to be a doctor, right? And then while we got into SS2, we were doing the very difficult further mathematics and all of that. Somehow I enjoyed those things. And a group of friends, we then telling ourselves that we are going to be engineers, you know? So, like I said, I wasn't thinking about it at age 13. The only thing that filtered to my mind was I was supposed to go and represent the family and be a doctor. It was around my SS2. SS1, I knew I was not going to be a doctor. By SS2, I was sure I was going to be an engineer. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that wonderful answer to the question. We'll go back to Sister Chioma on the follow-up question. You made it clear that at 17, 18, you're already clear about what you wanted in life and you wanted to be a lawyer. So the follow-up question I have is, you studied law, but now you lead operations in fintech. How did that transition happen?
Okay, good question. So, law is all about what I was doing. In fact, when I started after law firm, I went into an oil and gas servicing company as the head of legal, right? Because I wanted to be, after all the courtroom processes and all that, I wanted to be a company secretary, right? So I went in-house to, I took the job of the head of legal for an oil servicing firm. So I did that for about 3 years, right? And I had a friend, somehow I had contact, and I decided to move into fintech as the director of legal, right? So I was still doing legal job, contract reviews, licensing, registrations, legal advice, secretarial things and all that. Then from being a director of legal, I was promoted to a deputy assistant general counsel. So if you're in the corporate world, especially foreign companies, the highest you can get to as a lawyer in the company is a general counsel. So I was just one step away from my peak, right? And one day I had a call with my CEO, and he told me, look, we like what you do. We think you're a great person, but we want to move you to another department. And I asked why, and he said, you're more of a business lawyer, right? When you provide feedback, advice, support, you're always looking at the business itself. You're not just, unlike other people that will just think about law, and all that, but you try to consider operations, what we can do, and you now talk about law and all that. So it was as if I was more of a business lawyer. And he said, we also admire your leadership qualities. And at this point, we need you in this department to fix things, because for us, you're like a fixer, right? So there's a problem, and the next thing is, let's put Lasbury on a call, and they put me on a call, and I'm telling them, okay, if this happens, this will happen, this will happen. Can we do this? Have you tried this? How about this? Did you consider this when you took the decisions and all that? So not every lawyer can do that or can reason that way. And at that point, the operations team also needed like someone to help them transition to what they were to a better place, right? So I said, no, I'm only a lawyer. I've only done law all my life. So I don't even know the business. I don't know operations. I only do law. So let me just stay in my comfort zone. And they asked me to go think about it. I did. The CEO called me again and said, we think this is the best place for you to add value to this business, right? There are a lot of people already doing the legal job, but we can't really find someone that can fit into this position more than you, right? So we want you to move to operations. Go lead that team. We need you there. So I accepted and I went to the team. One of the reasons why they actually told me to go to the team is because each time we had the person leading the team, and each time she came up with a problem or she had an issue, I'm always saying, guys, there is no issue here, right? You just do it this way and you'll be fine. And most of them will follow the direction and they'll be fine. So now it's time for you to really go in there and fix things, right? We don't really need you here, we need you here. So I think transitioning from legal to operations kind of brought out some of my soft qualities, soft skills, right? It's like a description of what I was doing or who I am or something. And when I went to operations, it was new to me. Then I need to spend some time now learning the business. But I found out that some of the issues we had there, I could actually solve the problems with my legal knowledge, right? Before it goes to legal, I can actually say this is the problem and this is how we want to solve it. So even what the legal team were offering as an advice, to me, it didn't make sense to me anymore because they were only looking at the legal aspects, right? But me knowing what operations is now and my legal knowledge, I could tell them, no, I understand the law aspect of this. This will not work. And they'll be, oh, so you don't really need us. So it wasn't difficult for me to transition from legal to operations because I was already doing a bit of it while I was in legal, right? If you're a good legal advisor, for you to even do well, you need to understand the business. So you're not just quoting law, you're not just citing regulations, but you're citing provisions that would actually help solve the operational issues. So it wasn't really difficult for me because I was used to it. And maybe I was also being prepared for that 3-year period before I joined the fintech because I worked with a very difficult boss that wanted me to do HR, wanted me to do finance, wanted me to do every other job in that company because he trusted me that I would get it done. So that also gave me an opportunity to learn some of those things that other departments were doing, and I just got used to it. I could actually follow them, do some costing and all that. So that was actually a period that really prepared me from what I'm doing currently. So moving from legal to operations wasn't really any issue to me because I was already doing some of those operational functions.
Okay, thank you very much for that beautiful answer. Would I move to Bro Godwin? Okay, so back to the question. What is the biggest mistake Nigerian students make when choosing a course?
All right, thank you. I can begin there. Which one has finished? So let me start there because some of the things I want to say, you might be hearing what I've already said. But let me start here. This is Chubikem. Where's Chubikem? You can stand, Chubikem. Chubikem, you have 21, section A, and in section B you have 19, section C you have 21 again, section C or D you have 23, and you have 23 again, you have 23. So in a scoring aspect, the first three highest will be the core around you, what you can explore and become very well. The best three around you become a core around you. And you have in the D, D is creative, innovative. Someone that is creative, innovative, you can do well in architecture, creative. Because architect will bring to pass. That thing is not there, they will bring it into being. I don't know where you are, whether you are art inclined, science inclined. You art inclined, science inclined? You are art inclined, I mean, okay. Innovative, these are, you can also be an artist in terms of drawing, graphic design, they are also there. In terms of music, composing music in songs, if you like it, also there. That one, 23, that D is there, but the other one is also there. The last one, I dislike injustice. You can be a lawyer as in that point. You can defend someone, can be a police. Understand? Now, I'm just picking this, but there are other ones that are there. Like in 21, you score well in 21 too. And 21 is that you have compassion for people as well. You do? Yeah, you have compassion for people. That means you can work in courses that are people oriented. You can be a counselor, you can be a social worker, you can be a sales personnel in some way because you work with people. Sometimes the challenge or ask us problem or mistake students make is actually called outsourcing identity. Outsourcing identity. What this means is that we have problem, we have parental pressure. It should be a lawyer, it should be a doctor, it should be an engineer, because sometimes there are only 3 courses that are available. You're not a doctor, you're an engineer, or you're a lawyer. These are what makes money outside. Or you have what they call peer comparison. I want to be like my friend. Or prestige. I want to do something that will give me money. Nothing is attached to. There are some people that are supposed to work with machines, but they work with people. And when they work with people, life becomes miserable for the person and for all others. Whereas if they were to work with machine will not complain, knock it, nail it, but if you carry the same energy, work with machine and work with people, you can put fire in a company. Because that is not that person's calling. It's not that at all. You understand what we are saying? Okay. I think that was. So I've said that mistake people make. Sometimes people live for others. Might live for parents, might live for peers, might live for prestige, and yourself is not even there. At the end of the day, this person might go anywhere and struggle and complain and complain. Whereas if there's something you should choose, complain is out of there. You are not going to.
Okay. Yeah. Just a follow-up question to that. I want you to provide an answer to this question. It says, if someone chooses the wrong course, is their future damaged?
All right. I think that was number 9 you said to me, Abi. If someone chooses the wrong course, is that person's future damaged? And the first thing is, what is the wrong course? That's the first thing. What is the wrong course? Because what you might notice is that successful people like we are here, he pivoted, she pivoted. And what that means is that they started as an engineer, is it not so? But what he is doing now is more in business. Abi? Alright. She is a lawyer, but she guide because I know that in law is actually very elaborate. Teach so many things that will prepare them for any angle. But she pivoted. She's not working in a chamber. Do you understand? Okay. What we are saying in a sense is this, that there's no wrong course to say. Frank Edo, you know Frank Edo? Or in those days used to be in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Yeah. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? He originally studied animal science. But he works well in the media. Is it not so? Yeah. So somebody would have said, but then what you notice is that you are early years in the school. There are sometimes you study courses that you don't even know what they are meant for, but they are preparing you for so many things out the way you come out in the real world of life. So that when you come out, you have been sharpened in some angle. If you study a course that you feel in your mind that is wrong, because necessarily there's nothing wrong there anyway. I don't know which one you call a wrong course. There was a student. I know that sometimes in school, I'm a teacher, but sometimes you know that people do not really say, you don't really like teaching. You go to teaching at the very last option of everything. So you go to university, if you want to study, if you are in arts, your mind is, I want to study law, mass communication, and what else is there? Basically, those are the biggest one there. So if you want to go and study English, so say go and study English, pure English, PA English, don't study English education. Because if you study English education, you come out to the classroom. And so you study BA English, and when you come out, and sometimes the first place they send you to is school. Is it not so? And when they send you to some big school, what they do to you, they take you as contract first because you are not a teacher. And ask you to go and do a postgraduate diploma in education before you become a teacher. And I know someone, when she wanted to go and study education, the mother was crying. When I grow old, who will take care of me? But the child was so confident. I don't know what she got it confident. Mama, don't worry. It will be well. And when that girl places the mother on salary because she is fine, she just studied English education. And that was what she did. And then there's some schools that will pay, you know so. Have you? Yeah. If you go to something like Greenshire or Abyssinia there or Green Spring, they will pay you in such a way that you might come very, very small, but you know that you are fine. Is it not so? Yeah. But if you don't have education, I can tell you will struggle to be there. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying that they talk about the wrong course first. Sometimes you go to university, you study what they call, if you don't like children, then leave that side. Because you might go to put yourself in trouble very well. But you go to study early childhood education, you are fine because you know where you can put your leg and you'll be very, very fine. I'm saying this to say that thing you call wrong may not actually be what? Be wrong. But you are sharpened and prepared for it. Even if you, in your mind, you feel that is wrong, when you come out, you can explore all other things that are coming. We have what is called career mobility and pivoting. Pivoting is when you leave where you are and then you see move towards that particular line and use the experience you've gathered here to work there. And that is pivoting. Or career mobility, you move from one career to another and still flow well. You know, many people work in fintech today, but where they started, many areas they would have. I knew someone working in the fintech. What did she study in the university? Education. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that wonderful answer. So, Sister Chioma, while you were speaking to us earlier, you talked about your family. So, I want to ask this. How should parents influence career decision?
How should parents influence career decision? Okay. So parents are there to guide, right? Good I think what we experienced like 20 years back or 30 years back is not what is obtainable currently, right? Because this generation of parents have come to understand that children do better when they do a course they like, or maybe when they do a course that reflects their personality, right? So previously in the past, families will just give birth and begin to allocate courses to each of their children, right? And most of them actually did it and they were successful. Some did it and they dropped out, right? Like 20 or 30 years ago, you have 5 kids. You say this one is a lawyer, this one is a doctor, this one is an engineer, this one, even when you're completing the JAMB, you say, oh, no, I want to do this one. No, put this one, right? So, but this generation of parents, I think we've now understand that children do better when they do courses that they like, enjoy, and reflect their personality, right? So if that doesn't mean as a parent you cannot influence your child's decision. There are several ways you can also get the child to kind of like the course you want him to study. A good example, I have a colleague that bought there's a name they call it, but it's like you buy an aeroplane and you get the child to fix it in pieces, right? Not really a puzzle. The real aeroplane itself, but you get it in pieces and you get the child to fix it. And after fixing it, the child can dismantle it and keep doing it again. So he did that purposely because he wanted the child to study a course that relates to probably engineering, being a pilot, civil engineer, aeronautic and all that, right? So that is a subtle way you can influence your child, right? You can actually push the child. It's like you're pushing the child's mind to a certain area of study. But what does not work or what will not work is for you to like assign a course to a child and you just leave the child. But there are different ways. It can also be that you buy books, probably medical books, and you get the child to start reading those books at an early stage, right? If it's a child that is interested, some kids can actually pick interest because what forms your idea of who you want to be in future is actually your environment. A good percentage of your environment, people around you, right? So if you get a child at a very young age and you create an environment, you begin to put that child in certain environment or take that, is like you have an uncle that is an engineer, right? Probably during midterm break, you take the child to the uncle's house. So the uncle will have conversation with the child. All the conversation the uncle will have definitely will just be around engineering and all that. So that child at that formative year, you're consciously forming the person's idea of who he should be in the future. That's what I have seen that has worked and what parents these days are exploring, right? But this issue of you must be a doctor, you must be a doctor, it's no longer working because children are now wiser and you now have a child that will stand in front of you and tell you, no, I want to be a musician. I have a friend's son that has told the parents, I want to be a musician. And one even ran out of school and started weaving his hair, started recording and all that. The woman had to pack her things from here and went to the UK just to stay with the child to make sure that the child completes first degree before even going to the music industry, right? So things like that are happening. What parents can do in this generation, like I said before, is to create an environment, right, that supports that course you want your child to study, because and it's not a do or die affair. You can even do all those things, take the child to buy books, buy all those aeroplane and all. At the end of the day, the child will tell you, I want to be a musician. There is nothing you can do about it. But to a very large extent, your environment forms your idea of who you want to be in the future. So if you really want to influence your child's course or area of study, try and create an environment that will help that child to form that desire to study that area of to study that course that you have in mind. So it's just a function of environment.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma, for that wonderful answer. I think while you were explaining about parent influence, I saw a lot of persons were smiling and laughing because they could actually relate situations whereby their parents make decisions for them. And my next question will go to Chinedu. So I want you to answer this question. If a student feels pressured by family expectation, how should they handle it?
Okay, I think if I'm starting from where she starts, we don't have a lot of those pressures at the moment. You know, interestingly, I have a son who will be writing JAM in April. It's April that JAM is. And I remember the conversation we had. In my head, you know, I have ideas what I would wish that he would study in my head. As early as last year, I asked him to do research around some courses of interest. But what he has consistently done is he would tell me it has to be tech. Which one in tech, he wasn't sure. Somehow I want him to answer an engineer, right? And I told him that, all right, I gave him options of tech. I realized that he would rather do something, he said he doesn't want anything hardware. We narrowed to the point where I know he would rather do something software related. Somehow I didn't want computer science, even though I don't have a problem with that. You know, somehow we arrived at software engineering. You know, he will still answer engineer somehow, right? But now we are focusing on that part. What I will say is this. Very likely this is no longer happening so much. But if you are one of those people, okay, who for some reasons you're under that kind of pressure, you really wish, like he was trying to let us know, you really know that you don't have a passion there, you don't have interest there. In some cases, which is probably what we will not mention so far, you probably can't even pass the JAM, right? There are people that have problem with maths, you know, maybe in their former world, all right? You know, we don't believe in reincarnation. In their former world, they offended maths. And you want that person to go and be an engineer. Why is he even going to pass the JAM? Parents sometimes don't know these things, right? Because you are even going to struggle with scoring high enough to meet the cutoff mark of the engineering they are asking you to study. So if you're in that position, I think you start with, ask yourself, is it even something you can do? Should you get to the point where that is the only condition that they will pay your school fees, right? Is it even something you can do? If it's something you can do, maybe it's an option, right? What you can also do in that situation is, you have maybe younger uncles or people who they respect. If you feel so passionate about an alternative course of study, it can actually involve them. But what I will now tell you is this. Your parents may not really be off track. It could be there's something they see, it could be something that whatever. Don't say it's going to be a no-no. It may be a negotiation where you are eventually going to say what? A yes. So my brother, my sister, let's even assume that you don't have any option at all, that you must go and study that course. Your parents have said you must study, or else they will not pay your school fees. It is not the end of the world. You will realize that you are just starting life. You know, 5 years down the line, your view of things will be dramatically different from what you think about right now. Right? I loved engineering. I loved chemical engineering. I wanted to work in oil and gas. As a matter of fact, after graduation, after youth service, I went for Shell training and did 1 year in Warri just to get into Shell. Right? And when that didn't happen, as far as I'm concerned, when is this world even ending? Because what's the point anymore? Right? I got into, maybe that's another story, I got into consulting. 4 years down the line, I had opportunity of going back to work in the oil and gas industry. I realized that even though I was going to help more money, that thing is no longer for me. I just told myself, you are born for this particular job you are doing now, which is consulting. Right? So, your mindset can easily change along the line. It's not your life, or your life has not been ruined. Work has not come to an end. You know, it's a phase, 4 years, 5 years, that can lead to multiple things. As a matter of fact, very likely you are going to deviate from that thing you thought was the love of your life along the line. You will get more mature, your interest will differ, you see things clearly. Some of the decisions you use in making that original, some of the parameters you use in making those decisions may be different, and you see yourself pivoting to something else. All right? So what I'm going to say in summary is, if you're not passionate about that particular course, if you don't feel about it, negotiate with your parents. Involve other people, If they are members of this church, involve me, involve people like him. Let's negotiate on your behalf. But if they say that is what it must be, go to the next thing. Is it even something you can do? Right? If it's something you can do, maybe you can give it a shot. All right? You may not like the answer, but that's how I will do it.
Let me say something. A kind of an information as well, especially for the Nigerian government has done something that is not very favorable. Some students that are in SS2, SS1, SS2, SS3 might get into trouble some years to come, except the universities will change some aspect. For example, the course science student, you do all sciences, and econs, courses like econs, if you're a science student, you may not do econs again now, but before then, you can pick in some school. And if you are a commercial student, you may not do biology again because of an arrangement of courses. It might interest you to note that if you are going to Unilab, University of Lagos, and you want to do accounting, but in your wire you don't have biology, the school will not take you. You might ask yourself, what does biology have to do with accounting? And if you want to do an engineering course, and you did not do further math, you don't credit it, don't put Unilab, put another university because it will not take you. I hope you understand. Know it. The school is there, except that changes tomorrow. But at the moment, if you choose it, even if you score 400 in JAMB, you wonder why have you not been admitted. Those are some of the things that are there. You check social media, it may not be there. I hope you understand us. Now, having said that, and some of these things, it has said, if you are pressured, as he has mentioned, gather your facts. I know someone that wanted to do music. In fact, a young man, he went to university, I think he did either insurance or so, and finished, I want to do music. Before you know, his colleagues gave him something to drink. Till today, his mind is scattered. Musical. What am I saying? I also know a young man, but very talented. If he stands here to sing, you will love him. He says he wants to do music. Before you know it, I don't know what happened with music with plating of air, whether they have a relationship. He started and then smoke, he go join. Today, when he want to complain, he will say, we did not talk too tough for him. If he had done that, it would have changed. I say, how do you want us to do it? So that, because sometimes I say, I want to do music, because maybe we see Wizkid, you see Bankido, they have made so much money. You want the video. And that's what is on your mind is that first, the money. But you may not ask yourself challenges along the line as you are going there. And so if your parents tell you, before I tell you, you want to say, I want to dance. I tell them, if you want to dance, go to university and start dancing along the line. So that if the dance will not work, university will work. Today is dancing out of university, I'm not graduated. Because of choices that they want, not following what the parents want. Okay.
All right, thank you very much, bro, Godwin. Also, thank you very much, bro, Chinedu. Yeah, you actually did justice to the question, and you also spoke like your father. So to audience and brethren, if you are here, you're feeling pressured and you don't know how to talk to your daddy or mommy, you heard from Chinedu, call him, call our sister, and also call from Godwin. So,
sorry on that, I wanted to say, even though he's not a member of the church, I have a friend that was not very happy with me, right? The son finished his first degree, got a job, but in a father's template, which must be followed. After the first degree, the next thing is to go for masters abroad. And the son would rather work instead of going for masters abroad. And he brought me to intervene. He was so sure I'm going to say, why don't you go to masters abroad? I told him that I stand with the son. And I gave my reasons. The man was regretting, why did I involve this man? You know, because I wasn't saying what he wanted to hear. But I think at the end of the day, you know, I kind of educated him. From my own experience, I told him that for all the masters in the world, all the masters in the world can never trump what you call job experience. Are you getting it? So the point I'm making is, it may be a bit disappointing, but one of the few things we learn eventually is that our parents are not perfect, right? they talk based on what they know, the extent they know, the extent they have seen, based on their own backgrounds. You may later on be realizing that they are limited, right? But like I said, it's not for you to become a rebel. As much as possible, negotiate, call people and all of that. All right? But please, instead of now saying, I won't go for anyone at all, your parents could be right too, right? So when you're negotiating, have an open mind. Yeah, have an open mind and see how that whole thing will end. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. If you have any question, just put it down in writing. We'll collect that and attend to that. So we are moving to this section, which is degree and skill. There's this popular saying here today, say school na scam, school doesn't matter. Once you have your handwork, you have your skill, you are good to go. So, Bro Chinedu, I want you to provide an answer to this question, just more like clarify this. How important is the actual degree compared to the skill you build?
In this current planet we live now, okay? Maybe later on things will be different. I'll give you an example. I don't want to call names, but if you start thinking about it, you may know who I'm talking about. I have a young man who was in this congregation a couple of years ago. He came to my house with something that was really troubling him. He told me, look at what I'm doing. I'm very gifted in this area. I've not gone to the university. I'm already making progress and all of that. Wouldn't it be better for me to continue with that? Do I really need to go to the university? It was not the easiest question I've seen because I was almost going to affect the life of a young man. I told him, while I don't have on the answer, this is what I think. In today's Nigeria, in today's world, there are opportunities that will be denied you simply because you don't have that certificate to put on the table. You know what I call a foot in the door. You've not even had the opportunity of now discussing what you can do because you are not able to even enter the room in the first place. Are you following? So we agree, you don't need that particular university degree to showcase your talent, but there are many rooms you will not be able to even enter. You've not been given the right to start a conversation because they basically say the entry point or the boundary conditions, entry requirements require with me that you have what? A degree. Personally, I had opportunity of having a PhD years ago, you know, and I did a master's, I did an abroad master's. I wanted almost in the same spirit to do a PhD. They gave me the cost of it. I said, why will I spend money? PhD just to answer a doctor, right? It was now I realized that while I was working with some clients, there are some opportunities that will never be given to anyone who does not have what? A PhD. And you can do it, but the way they were required, you must be a PhD holder for you to even what? Have that conversation. So my brothers and my sisters, for all the arguments, I am on, please get the degree first. Okay? Get a degree, do all you could to get that degree. I'm a consulting professional. There are a lot of theories we propound. We are saying that in the next 5 years, the next 6 years, the next 10 years, university degrees may no longer be requirements for getting some jobs. Maybe our world will be different then. We are not sure when that will be. But for now, there are opportunities you'll be denied simply because you don't have a degree. Get it at all costs. The second part of it, which is implied here, I will normally say this. In today's world, it may no longer work for you to just go and spend 5 years in university trying to get what? A degree. It may no longer be sustainable. In today's world, there's always a backup. Even when we've had that in this class, when we say what's the main hustle and what's what? The side hustle. Side hustle may eventually become what? The main hustle. So if I'm going to school today to go and study engineering and I have a lot of flair for IT, I will take that IT alongside while I'm spending that 5 years to study engineering. There are so many of you people may know. I don't want to call the person's name, right? Because I don't think I've gotten the permission. This person went to the university to study something related to health. While there, she was doing certification in cyber security. What's the first job she got? Cyber security. What's the second job she got? Cyber security. I don't think he has any reason to remember that what she studied originally was what? Something health related. That is the world we are in. You are no longer allowed to spend that number of years just focusing on one thing. But let that one thing be the degree you are going to have. That your side hustle, that your other areas of passion can be strung along. And I said a time may come when they will become what? Even your main hustle.
Thank you very much, sir, for that one.
Let me just say something here. I had a young man in my congregation was doing 8 years to go become chartered accountant. There was another one that was already a chartered accountant. We told him, see, even if you are chartered today without a first degree, there is no work that they will not cheat you. Even if you are chartered today without a first degree, that you will be underpaid in any work you are chartered to. So just get a degree in any field, but add that chartered and you are fine. It might also interest you to note that you cannot have current certification without a degree in engineering. You will not be admitted into the Nigerian Society of Engineers without a first degree. It's not possible. Another one you might also note that there's a work you cannot bid for. People will bid for you and then they win the contract and they come and give you peanut and take the whole lot and go. Even if you can construct a bridge or design a building live, it might not go far. Someone with certification will carry that one and go farther than you are, and your knowledge is gone and you are there. And so whatever you are doing, it might give you money now, add something, add value so that it will take you farther than what you expected. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful answer. In conclusion, get a degree. Now, a follow-up question, and this is directed to Sister Chioma, because you are in a tech space and also you understand law. So I just want to ask, in today's market, what matters more? Is it technical knowledge or soft skill?
Technical knowledge or soft skill? Interesting. Okay, so both of them are very important, right? Let me ask you, what do you mean by technical knowledge?
Okay, just basically IT, like the skills, physical,
a programmer,
exactly,
or soft skill. Or software or soft skill. Soft skill. Okay.
No,
okay.
the soft skill is
okay.
different from the technical.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Yes. So soft skills are like they're like your qualities. Yes. Right? Your abilities, your qualities basically. Then technical skills, they're like the IT stuff, what you know. Probably you went to school for it or you didn't go to school for it, right? So both of them are very important. Why? Because when you go to school, you're not learning soft skills when you go to school. You're learning, let me say in the technical space, you're learning just technical skills. Soft skills are basically about your personalities, what experience has taught you in life, what you have been able to overcome, and the qualities that helped you maneuver and things like that, right? So both of them are very important for you to survive in a corporate world. Like Bro Chinedu said, before you get employed, there are minimum requirements. And those minimum requirements speaks to your technical skills, right? Presumably your technical skills, because if you're gonna get, let's say you're an IT engineer, before you get employed, it will be your qualification, your certifications. Did you go to a school? After your degree, did you get any other certifications and all that, right? That's what will really get you into the job. And another thing that interviewers look at when they are interviewing you is also to know what are your soft skills to survive. Because when you have that book knowledge, for you to survive in a corporate world, you need also the soft skills to excel, right? It might be that you're someone that is capable of managing people. When you're in school, IT didn't teach you how to manage people, right? Physics didn't teach you how to manage people. Chemistry didn't teach you how to manage people. But those courses are just preparing you for you to get the technical skills. But experience in life, probably you're the first in your house and you have 9 others, small children, and you're the one coordinating them. So as time goes on, you begin to learn how to coordinate people because you're the first and you're in that position to coordinate people around you. So that's a skill you're developing from that young age, right? And when you eventually get employed because of those your technical skills, you may have an opportunity to be lead people, and that skills, remember when you formed those skills, they were actually when you were very small because you have to coordinate your smaller ones, right? Now you're put in a position to lead a group of people, which means you're a team leader, right? So you're doing it. That wasn't the what you learned in school really, but you need it to grow. You need it to actually perform those functions that will be assigned to you, right? So back to your question, both are very, very important. You're going to learn the technical skills in school, but if you have to grow in life, if you have to grow in your career, you also need the soft skills. Like I said when you asked me the first question, I didn't learn how to lead a team of 16 people from 16 countries in law school. No. In law school, I was just cramming sections. In law school, I was reading books, very big books. But none of those books taught me how to lead people, right? I don't know how or where I got the skills from, but someone within the organization was able to say, you're capable of leading a team, which means you have that skill to lead a team. And probably, I don't know where I developed it. Maybe you tell me, yeah? But assuming I didn't have that ability, nobody would have put me in a position as a vice president for operations. I'll probably be under someone, but not able to lead a team of 16 people from 16 countries. Yeah? So for you to grow in your career, you need soft skills, but it all starts with the technical skills.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ma, for that wonderful.
Okay. I don't know how much time we have, but I'm a bit careful. Perfect answers. I just want to further buttress that. I will try not to choose. But if you now ask me, your life is dependent on that, hard or soft, I will then reluctantly say soft. But don't ask me to choose, right? Okay, why they try to bring our power on? I can tell you, I can tell you that eventually we will not run out of IT specialists. We will not run out of engineers. We will not run out of this, right? There will always be people coming around with those hard skills. What will run out of, or what Okay. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
What will we continue to look for will be people who can make sales, people who can lead people, people who can manage people, people who are resilient, people who can take initiative, people who are great leaders, and all these things go down what we call what? The soft skills. Companies are no longer, what's the word now, ignorant of that. When they are trying to recruit people, maybe there are 10 slots for 500 people, which is normal in this country, right? They may tell you minimum 2-1 and all that and all that and all that. You go and write aptitude tests. They know how smart you are and all of that. The next set of interviews, they are no longer looking for those who, whatever, in IT, the best and all of that, because everybody has minimum of what it takes to succeed technically. The next thing they are looking for, just the soft skills. People like us learn that the hard way. And I could tell you, right, where I started from and where I am right now, we're having that conversation even there, right? I told her that one time as a young consultant, I was running a project that was happening the same time in 9 countries. In each country, I had a change manager who I had to interface with. It was about the worst period in my life because I didn't know what to do with those people. If I had the power, I would sack all of them, right? But somehow, I had to figure a way of working with them and get results, because without working with them, I can't even achieve what? Anything. That is soft skill, right? I have said that in this class, in your youth class. I told you that there are 4 important quotients, right? One of them is what you call your intelligence quotient, IQ. You need a minimum IQ to succeed. But I can tell you, maybe there's no difference between someone with IQ 80 and IQ 140. IQ 140 is probably a waste of IQ, right? The moment you get to that point, what makes the other person ahead of the other is no longer your IQ. It's no longer those technical things. It's a whole lot of things. I say there's the intelligent quotients, there's the emotional quotients, where you can manage your emotion and be able to manage others, even when you feel like slapping them or killing them, right? You will know that you have to just what? Manage them. If you don't learn that, you will learn it what? The hard way. Don't ever trivialize leadership, learning to lead people. Don't ever trivialize working in a team. Because what is up there is that you have to work with what? People. If you are not able to tolerate people, there's a ceiling to your growth. Right? Maybe they look for where you can only be interacting with machines. Because you are toxic and can't be actually allowed to be where human beings are. So if it's today you are the one who want to do things your own way, is either your way or the highway, you better be an entrepreneur. Even entrepreneurs say you are going to probably kill all your customers, right? You probably know how you want to run it in this life. If you think that today you can, is either your way or whatever, it's better you start coming down, right? Because the world out there is not forgiving like that. You are going to lose jobs. You are going to have a ceiling on your growth. They are probably going to sack you and all of that, except you are related to the president. So soft skills are things you must learn. If you don't have them now, start what? Looking for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I will be asking this question to Godwin. In 2 minutes, because we have another important section I want us to touch. In 2 minutes, while we wrap up the grievance skill. What skills should every university student develop, regardless of course?
I think the last section just is the soft skill, relational skill. Certificate will open the your test skill will give you the work, but the soft skill will give you promotion. And so you learn it. Even if you are this person that you've learned to oppress, go on learn it again so that you can relate well. And you know that when you talk about you have data, you have people, that sometimes people go to school and you know that you have friends that you relate, because sometimes you have contact, important contact from school. that is not going to be your CGP, but the people that you met along the line, even while you're in university, sometimes while you're serving, nobody might even remember, what is that your grade? Was it first class, second class, or, but they remember that you were a loyal person that can be trusted. That one is needed. Before, I don't know whether we'll have time so that this thing will not just become paper and they take it home and become confused about it. So I don't know whether I can say something briefly to those who have this. Please. Okay, I can do that, please. If you have this and it's still with you, please. The section A, whatever you score there, but is for those who are compassionate and care. You have that one. Section B, influence and vision. That key of leadership is there. And section C, the thinker, the scientists that are here. And I think I mentioned something about section D, the creative. And then the section E, the entrepreneur. And the section F, the defender. We talk about law enforcement or lawyers, whatever. So you can check this, look at yourself again and again and again. It might also be something to help you along the line. Thank you. Yeah.
We come into this section, we have to check growth and long-term impact. And the first question, Sister Chioma would answer that for us. I wanted her to answer that, considering the fact that she's a mother and her approach is really needed. It's a bit of answering the question. It says, what small decision early in your life had a big long-term impact?
Okay, interesting. I'm thinking so deep. Okay, I think one decision I made right from secondary school is to read, right? And I started from secondary school. I didn't start from primary school. I had it very soft in primary school because my mother was almost my teacher from primary 1, 2, 3 until I got to 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So I had soft life in my primary school days. But right from secondary school days, I actually went to a unitary school from SS1. I didn't start from a unitary school. And I got that admission because I went to Maiduguri for a jet club quiz. And my group, we won. And when we came back to Imo State, the governor decided to send the 5 of us to unitary school. So I started from SS1, Federal Government Girls College. And that actually taught me how to read, right? And I made a decision that I would always read, right? It became an interesting process for me. So I found myself a bookworm from SS1 up to today, right? I was just telling Daniel, where are my books? If Daniel should show you the books he photocopied for me, you pity me. And this is the second badge, right? So after that jet competition, I took interest in reading. And that actually helped me. Even when I went to university, I didn't have any challenge. I didn't have to sort for any course because I've already made up my mind to read, and I decided to do books while I was in school, right? It might not be an interesting life. It wasn't an interesting life because I had friends then in school that would leave almost every weekend, go and party and come back. And they will always say, oh, you're not having fun. I don't know how I coped, but I made up my mind to subject myself to reading. I can't say I never failed, right? there were courses. I know when I took criminal law the first time, I got a D, and it pained me, but it also motivated me. And that kind of
from anybody at all, from a complete sense, in the sense of English word, right? So whoever you can imagine. So I think the first thing is for us to recognize that the campus is a complete jungle, right? If you know what you are getting into, if you know what the problem is, you start thinking how to solve the problem. I'll be honest with you. If you go to Univen, I attended Univen. If you go to Univen today and you want to be focused, all you need to do is to be very close to the campus, the Univen congregation. Be very active, be very, follow all the whatever. There's a community that will shield you. The moment you know that you're a sister or you're a brother and you are active, you cannot find yourself in some words, in some kind of places, because you will be scared. Oh, what of the brothers, any of the sisters will what? Will see me. So the best thing you can do in today's university is, as much as possible, find yourself close to what? To the church. The second thing you can do is to find out who your friends are. Very important. Do not say, oh, I know myself, I have self-control, I have this. Willpower is limited. Right? If you find yourself in a wrong association, you may not come out of it. So the second, I said the first thing, get yourself closer to the church. Second thing, be careful of your friends. Third thing is, do not, I don't even want to talk about courtesan. You know that you shouldn't be found anywhere there, right? But do not be in a position where you have to compromise anything. Do you know what I mean? Do not be in a position where you have to compromise anything. When you're a girl, be careful of favors. In fact, even if you're a guy, also be careful of favors. Do not be in a situation where you are failing your exam and then you need to go and beg the lecturer. So don't put yourself in a compromising situation. Take care of things that will not involve you asking anybody for a favor. You know, focus on your thing, focus on your books, keep your circle small, get close to the church, and you will come out of there. That place is a jungle. It was a jungle. I graduated in 2001. It was a jungle as at then. Then we didn't have all these 20 different types of drugs that you people have. The only thing I remember we had then were people will take Igbo, apart from Igbo waters. But right now, there are, I don't even know the names. You didn't have that. Then it didn't have people booking. I'm sorry, I have to be raw like that. It didn't have people booking women on the internet like you are booking for pizza, right? Then we'll know that we'll use the word aristos. They will bring big vehicle and then they say there's a party and they are loading the girls out. But this one, people will now, even on the internet, all of you have already agreed that you are going to meet up somewhere in Abuja and nobody will even know. It's worse now. And if you want to go there and come out, please, please, I beg you, right? I beg you in the name of God. You know, be careful what you are really going out there to do.
At least 1 minute in addition to this for parents. Let me just say this. Parents should not send babies to university. Yes. Don't pursue them to leave the house and go to university. Sometimes you go and increase their age because the university has said or JAM 16 years and you increase the age to 16 where the child is 14, 15. When you increase the age on paper, have you increased the real age of the child? So when the child gets there, it's overwhelmed by everything. And you will blame the child, not yourself. Not knowing that you are bad. Because you want the child to compete. Whereas so that I graduated at 19. And sometimes they will go not graduating at all. And let me also add this. Sometimes the girl child and the boy child are the same age are not the same way in terms of maturity. The girl child is more mature than the boy child of the same age. Okay.
We thank Bro Chinedu so much for that wonderful answer. And it's true because I personally, I have experienced that when you find yourself in the midst of the brethren, there are some things you want to do, be like, my fellow brethren would, and it really helped a lot. And this leads to the next question, which we are used to wrap up this section on growth and long-term impact, and this will be handled by Bro Godwin. How important is mentorship, and how can students find mentor early?
Okay, mentorship. Sometimes it will come like this. Someone will see another person and try to encourage along the line to find, or the mentee, in this case, the person who is looking for a mentor will look at someone that has done well in a specific area and wants to also follow suit. But it doesn't mean that when you're looking at a mentor, you're solving everything that the mentor has done, hook, line, and sinker. There are things that you need that will help you. If you're looking for a good footballer that you mentor, you are not looking at me. I'm not sure where you will play. So you look at someone that you can actually learn one or two things from. And you have some people, like in this congregation, you have some persons that have done well and they have also sacrificed their time to come. Good clues to such person. Say, do you see a child or a person that is disciplined, that is skilled? That person will come before kings and not before mere men. Get people that will let you achieve your own goal. But what is that goal you're looking at? I'm not talking about how much money the person has, because that is not the issue. But someone that will shape your life and take you well. And also, let me also add this. I told someone in my congregation, look at that person. You are among the youths in the congregation. What do you do to that person? Like Brother Chinedu, you see someone, a child that you know that this child is of great potential but it's not living well. Don't leave the child. Call the child. Mentor the child. Guide the child. Tomorrow they will live forever to remember you. And Sister Chioma, Abi, you are there. You see a young girl that is moving. You know that is not moving well. Come closer. You see that? You talk. Sometimes you may come to realize that because sometimes we live in this Lagos. Lagos is a city. It has life itself and also has a culture. The culture of Lagos is you are your own, I am my own. Sometimes it's in the church. When you come, you just find a place and sit down. And when you wake up, carry about whom you go, no one really knows what you're going through. No one really knows what their problems are. It's the spirit of Lagos. And sometimes that spirit of Lagos was and enter the church. Don't look at the fine clothes when we wear and come. Go closer, you might know. So that there's a life you might touch. There's someone struggling with one thing or the other. That person tomorrow might become very well and very better because of what single talk like this. Sometimes in the university, like what we have done today, in the university, as you are coming, try to ask, what is some student, what I come to know, don't know what I have reached here. Many graduates from university do not want to go to service. They just want to finish and work. Service, they say forget about it. 77,000 is nothing. They will make 200. I said that 200, that's 77. That small paper they will give you tomorrow. If they want to appoint you patient assistant for somebody without the certificate, you are not going anywhere. They might go and do uru and give you. Those uru come and tell them they are dig uru for a person. Come and dig up. They will dig up. Remember what happened to this person? Is it Kemi? Yeah. She did well, very well. But that NYS, those who did it for her brought it up again, and she had to quickly design and go. What am I saying? If you are here, you haven't done it, please call them. Go and do it. Collect it and keep somewhere. You may not need it now. You don't know what will happen tomorrow.
Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful answer. It's really important for us to have mentors, someone to bring us up, and also someone we can learn from. We are gradually coming to an end. The section before we start answering individual questions is the rapid fire round. And in this section, I would be asking our panelists question. I just need a short answer in 30 seconds. Please just give me. The first question goes to Bro Chinedu. What's one cause young people overrate? Overrate, yes.
I think it's tech. Everybody just wants to do tech.
All right, thank you very much for that. That is actually true. Sister Chioma, what's one cause young people underrate?
I need more than 30 minutes.
All right.
30 seconds.
While you're still thinking, I can actually just...
In case I don't answer my own, ask.
All right, we would actually wait.
Okay. Yes, I think I'll go with him. Ask courses, right? And thinking about it, I think it's education.
Yeah.
We underrate education, right? Knowing that if we don't have the educators, we can't have graduates. Nobody wants to be a teacher. Nobody wants to be collecting that primary school, secondary school, or even university lecturer salary, forgetting that there are book writers, and we have book writers that are millionaires. Just one bestseller, you don't blow, right? So I think young people, we underrate education as a course.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Bro Godwin, in 30 seconds, what's one habit every student must build? One habit every student must build.
resilient. Yeah, resilient.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bro Chinedu, over to you. What's one mindset shift that changes everything?
Mindset shifts.
Yes.
Okay, am I allowed to answer with a story? You know, I think it would be me personally, almost my life story, right? The mindset that you may not be able to do it. The mindset that you are not good enough. The mindset that, oh, this takes special people to do it, right? I don't know why that is coming. And quickly, let me just tell this story. I'll summarize it. I probably have mentioned in this conversation, I did my junior secondary school in my village, right? And I could tell you I did well. Because I know when I wrote my junior secondary school, they gave me an award. They said I was the first person to have A in English and Maths since the school started. I don't know when the school started. So that means I did well at that level, right? The first thing I would do will be XS1 in Onisha. I could tell you the first 1 week in that school, I came to a conclusion. I don't know what I did, but I must have deceived everybody. I'm just an Olodo, right? In fact, it will still be the grace of God because a lot of things happened in the 1 week. The first time I got into the class, the topic was further math. The very, I don't know, I don't want to abuse that man, right? So that man almost ruined my career. The first topic was length of arc in radians. I can still remember it. The formula is L equals to R theta, right? And it will tell you, now using Pythagoras theorem, in 5 minutes, I didn't know what he was talking about. I asked this man, okay, but what is Pythagoras theorem? He said, what's the name of your school? I told him. He said, go back to your village school and let your village teacher explain to you what Pythagoras theorem is. I went back to the hostel and I cried. I don't cry. I can count on one finger number of times I cried. And that's one of it, right? I came back. The next day was chemistry. First 20 elements in the periodic table. I've heard of hydrogen. I didn't know that I'm supposed to know first 20 elements in the periodic table in my junior secondary school. As far as I'm concerned, everybody apart from me knew it. They were using it to sing songs. Hello, Helen, listen, broken bottle cannot overflow. What is going on here? Everybody knew what was going on apart from me. I went to my hostel and I cried again. That's the second time, right? And I told you how my cry had been in one finger. By the third day, I was so sure that I was Olodo. There's no way he can convince me otherwise. So in all my walking around, in fact, when people are discussing, I'm avoiding them because I don't think I'm supposed to be part of them, right? And everything, and God did a miracle. In fact, they wrote the first test we wrote, the way the devil have it, first test we wrote in that school was further maths. I scored 3/10. In all my career, I have never gotten anything less than 8 or 7 because I was supposed to be smart. And that's the only 3/10 I've scored in my life by God's grace. Now, while I was dealing with that, the next test was geography. You know, geography, there was no equivalent in junior secondary school. Everybody was coming the same. Or that rotation of earth or whatever, everybody was getting it for the first time. That time zone calculation, we were doing it for the first time. There was nothing that I was supposed to bring from my secondary school. I got the highest in geography. The entire school, all those smart people, right? Most of them had 12 A's in their junior secondary school. I got 3. And I got an award in my village school, right? And those are the people I went to meet. So I got the highest score among all of them. That was how God saved me. When the year came to an end, out of 200 and something students, I was in the top 10. I never believed it. So this guided every part of my life. When I got into university, you know, and we are doing something, there was one guy, I remember him was Sai, you know, we are trying to explain something to somebody, the Sai will come from nowhere, take it from you, and explain. I was like, go and sit down, I've seen people like you, right? Oh, there's no point, I've seen it before. You know, when I got into consulting, Accenture the first time, most people who had foreign degree, they were speaking through their nose. I said, people shift. Yeah? I was speaking with my Igbo accent. Sit down, let the work come, we'll get the work done. All right? So I do not believe that what has led me to today. Oh, you have to be some kind of person. You need to know the president for you to be a partner. I'm a partner in the way today. I don't know not. See, just forget everything. Let's come and do the work. And that is one thing I have learned. That's one thing I think anybody should learn. There's no special anybody anywhere. Nobody came from the heavens and dropped down. If this person can do it, yes, we have our areas of strength. If he can do it, that means if the person has one head, it means he can also what? Do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for doing justice to that question. To Sister Chioma, what's in one sentence, advise a confused 17 years old?
Wow. A confused 17-year-old. What do you want out of life? Right? Yeah. So if you come to me and you're confused, I think the first question I will ask you is, what do you want out of life? What do you want tomorrow to look like? Right? So you answering that question is a very simple question, but before you provide an honest answer, you need to search yourself. And whatever comes from the depth of your heart, right, is actually what I will focus on to advise you. What do you want out of life? Do you want to be successful? Yes, in what area of life? So that's what I will ask.
Thank you very much. It's now time for questions from the audience. We have one. Please, if you have your question, you hand them over to Bro Daniel Obente. So while we do that, we have one with us here, and our beloved Minister Bro Godwin will handle this. Will answer this question. It says, are there any career restriction for members of the Lord's Church? For example, would pursuing a career in music, considering the nature of today's industry, be an issue? Similarly, what about modeling, particularly for women, where it may involve wearing outfits that reveal part of the body?
All right, thank you. I would say that there is actually no career that will not have a limitation for Christian. There is none. What do I mean? One day I traveled with one barrister, Afangi, is in Calabar, and I asked him, sir, why did you choose to be a lawyer? Because I used to hear that lawyers are liars. Sorry, man. And one thing he told me that changed my perspective, he said, Godwin, even a goat, when it enters the bush, it will select the leaf to eat. So, wow. So, that as a lawyer, there are some cases that will come to him after he has been told, or he said, you can take it to another person, because you know that he will not be able to handle it well. You know that medical doctors that will do abortion now, I'm not talking about life-threatening abortion or ectopic pregnancy, but those that will just decide to destroy life. They are. So when it comes to career, I have a young sister that wants to do music. And someone told me that this particular big, is it Don Williams or so? Someone particular good musician there that had very good baritone like this. He's a member of the church. You can go check him. That's a member of the Church of Christ. But he sang in such a way that his own music, even as he sang, it was not this kind of music that was vocal, but you still know that where it's coming from. So you can still express yourself in a way that will be fulfilling, will meet a God's standard, and will also meet your passion as well. Not necessarily that you don't need to go naked because you're singing. That young sister, sometimes when if he sings like this, he will love her. And sometimes when she goes to the city, they ask her, you are closing yourself too much. She said, that's what I like. She still sings. So, if you want to do modeling, it doesn't mean that you must walk naked to do modeling. If they give you an outfit that you decide to see that this outfit will not fit with me, you leave it for something else that will suit you. I'm saying that to say that there are things, places, that some music you cannot sing. If it's vulgar in content, we say, no, I can't do this one. But you can explore the world. but know that there are some limitations that if exploring the world will lead me to offend my God, then no, this one will stop. There is, if those who work in the bank now, it's people that will take one account and do the other now. People add numbers, so there's no profession that cannot be abused. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for doing justice to that question. Daniel, maybe you could just bring the ones we have. So that's bro Chinedu. It says, is it wise to sacrifice your passion for financial security in your career, or how do you balance passion and income when making career decisions?
Okay, I think this is a very good question. We have somehow answered it, but I will start all over again. I do not think that, you know what we call career? Your career does not necessarily start. By the time you're in the university, you don't really have a career. If you know what you're calling career, right? You are going to school, all right? So, I think the first question then is, let's take career as a full journey, starting from deciding on what course of study, to the point where you probably say you are what? Retired. If you take it as a full job, right? So now, starting that right now, any normal person, and we are normal, we have a reason why they want to study a course in the university. But passion is not enough, right? I would say there are intersection of three things. What you are passionate about, passion is good. Passion can sustain you to an extent, right? But I can tell you, you will lose passion. If the passion is the only thing we are doing what? Something. That passion will be lost very fast. Another one is your natural abilities and flair. There are things that there are people who are passionate about football, but they cannot play it, right? So, but there are people who may not be as passionate, but they are natural. Passion is important. Your natural ability is important. Remember, you have to pass JAMB. So if you have problem with maths, and that's your thing you're passionate about, requires you to do maths, is either you settle your quarrel with maths first before you decide if it's something you want to do. So your natural ability is there. And the final point is, except your parents are millionaires, except your grandfather left you inheritance, let your passion and your abilities be something that can at least feed you, right? I do not want to mention, but there are courses that are nonsense courses in today's Nigeria, right? In today's Nigeria. I don't want to say it so that somebody will not come and take me to court. So if that's your passion and your interest does not intersect with something that can give you money, and you know that you want money, please reduce the passion, right? And tone it up with reality of the country, if you're in this country, right? So those three things must come together for you to say this is what you want to study. By the time you study and you have a degree, and I can tell you, you are older, you are wiser, you are at liberty. Almost everybody here has done that, to start pivoting as you want. Some of us started as engineers, became consultants. Maybe later on, if I get bored, I may go and read law and then start making troubles with people or something, right? So your career is a full journey. You have option to navigate, deviate, move things around in the course of it. And that means that if you make mistake, you can what? Quickly what? Also correct your mistake. Just know it's a journey that probably ends at death.
Thank you very much, Brother Chinedu, for doing justice to that question. The last question with me here will be handled by Sister Chioma, and it says, how does one manage parallel/multiple interests? How does one manage multiple interests?
Is it's a thing of priority, right? It depends on what you're interested in. Let me use myself an example. If I have about 5 interests at this stage in life, what I would do is to list the 5 interests, and I will begin to, just like Chinedu has said, if your passion is not bringing money to you, then you should throw it out of the window, because you cannot really survive. So if I have multiple interests, what I would do, first I'm going to itemize them. Then those multiple interests, I want to believe that the objective of those multiple interests is to make money, right? Then I'm going to itemize the 5 of them, and I will begin to look at each and every one of them to say, what do I have to meet each of those interests? And how much can I get out of those interests, right? So that would help me to properly prioritize my interests and know what to follow at every point in time. And I think another mistake we do sometimes is to do so many things at the same time. We will fail. Because for you to actually master a thing, you need to spend time and resources on that particular interest. A good example, I'm a lawyer, I work in fintech and all that, and I want to have a farm, right? I want to have a fashion school. I still want to retain my job in the fintech space, and I still want to have a law firm. So that's about 4 interests I already have to generate income and also spend my time on. So how then can I meet up with the farming when I need to employ people to do the farming for me, probably manage the farm? They will steal from me because I'm not spending time monitoring that business. So I'm not going to, the time I have is not able to take care of all the interests that I have. So if you have multiple interests, what I will first say is try to look at, have a list of those interests and try to prioritize them, put them on a scale and say, what can I really focus on? With the time I have, with the resources I have, what can I focus on and get more yield instead of just being jack of all trade, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't have side hustle. Side hustle is good, right? In today's world, we can't really survive with one means of income. We need to diversify, do other things. But at the same time, you also need to be truthful to yourself. How much time do you have? How much resources do you have? Right? That would actually determine what you should focus on. That would actually determine how much of those interests you have you should put in a basket or you should throw out of the window. So in summary, it's good to have so many interests, but what you can do for yourself is to prioritize, set priorities, put those interests on a scale, and focus on the real one that will yield income for you, and you also have time and resources to actually put in it.
Thank you very much, Sister Chioma, for the wonderful answer. I think we have a question on the floor, just one. All right.
Good evening, everyone. And thank you, my able and esteemed panelists. From having listened to the responses side by side, the presentation, I might be correct to say that it is advisable to, whilst pursuing a career in this part of the world, to think of finance and survival, right? We should actually prioritize over passion. And we have persons who like to be out there. They like to put their faces out there, like the newscasters,
and the rest. Fantastic enough, we are now in an age where even those who, work on the radio stations have opportunities to have, their behind the scene activities, showcased out there so that people can see them while they work. Now, this is where I'm going. Since career has to do with, career has to be balanced with passion and survival as per finance. How would we advise anybody who says, I want to have a career in, because these days you go online, you hear people say, oh, do you want to make money online? Do you want to be an AI expert? Come for a 1-week training so that you can be a YouTuber, this and all that and all that. Conversations or invitations geared towards practicing certain activities online that can actually sustain you financially. You hear people, especially on Facebook, somebody telling you, click on this, click on this. I made $10,000 last month, I made this, I made, so supposing a person says, I want to be a content creator, that's what he or she wants to do, for a living, because everybody seems to do that one way or the other these days. Those in the religious space, those in the news, and then those who sell products. Everybody these days looks for a way to come on air via these social media platforms, and they paint a picture that tends to suggest that they are doing well financially. So if a person says, so because it is a lucrative area, I want to be a content creator, I want to be a YouTuber, whatever platform they want to base their activities on, how do we advise those persons as far as having a career or choosing a career is concerned? Thank you.
Okay, bro, Godwin, thank you. Help us with that.
I think the aspect of the social media, the market, the money, after COVID-19, the world was more open to us, especially here, than it had ever been. And people teach online. If you want to be a YouTuber or want to use the social media to make some money, it wouldn't take away the fact that you first of all be educated in the whatever area you want to do, because people will listen to you. If people listen to you and you say, maybe you want to put your grammar together, you say, Okon were a boy. Except you are just deciding to be funny. Somebody will not visit you again tomorrow. And before you know it, that your side will go down. And so first of all, get the education. That is what I want to say. I think I want to slightly add. It might be that for me, I don't really see any course that they can get through in the university that is not good. I don't see it. I still remember growing up in those days of a NITEL, if you might remember NITEL, some persons that went to study telecommunication engineering will come back and roam the street. But as they were studying, MTN, Airtel came up. Before you know, those people, wow. I remember my teacher, UUMMM. He taught me, I did shorthand, business studies till SS1. This man was good, he can close this. I don't know any way to type now on the keyboard, he can close your eye and do that. This man was good. You know what happened? Computer came up. The man became so well. He went to you, resigned from teaching at that point. He went to you and was fine. Because he just moved a little bit from what he knew. When I came to Lagos, I met a man. Somewhere in Shibule, went for evangelism. I met a man. He said he was the one putting typewriter in Union Bank of the whole of Nigeria. But he was out of work. Because at that time, there was no typewriter again. What did they have? Computer. He did not upgrade a little bit. But this keyboard, he can, anything on it, he will tell you. He gave me a skill. How do I test that the keyboard, if you want to go and test the keyboard and know that it's bad, just type this. It kind of a quick brown fork jumps over it, and then you know that which keyboard is not working. But it was out of job because something moved him out of there. But the other teacher, because that one went to university, he was able to upgrade a little bit and became so fine. I'm saying this to say that the school you go to will sharpen you and will also widen your horizon in such a way that, because today, AI, do you know what will happen in the next 10 years? Because this AI, today, if you want to do research, you can even ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT, I want to do this, but all the things are out. I'm sure the time you finish university, you did not do ChatGPT to have your research. No, we didn't. What am I saying? Is that are there now? What will happen in the next 10 years, we cannot say. What I'm saying is that the persons who get the basic first, and then what area of content do you want to even create? Because there are many areas. Some people go to herb, some go to traditional medicine, some go to music, some go to religious content and do. But you must be proficient in whatever area you choose. You can also go to religious content without knowing your Bible. What are you going to say? So you must know first, what is that area? Be proficient in it. If you want to do digital marketing, you want to sell a kind of, you must know the value you are marketing or projecting out before people can come to you and your site becomes sellable. Without which you just put it, after they have visited you once, they just...
been talking about since we started this panel session is the basic is a university degree, right? So for everyone, that should be at the back of your mind that the basic is a university degree before you can do any other thing or continue doing whatever you were doing before your degree, right? For so many reasons. One is because that passion that you have today may not feed you again tomorrow, right? You talked about YouTubers. We are also, I don't know if you have watched Instagram recently, you will see that there are AI generated content these days. Some of them are in a movie form, short movies. Those are purely AI generated, right? So that's to tell you that in the coming days, we will also have AI fully creating content online, and we all be watching it and we all be laughing. The same way we are looking at Pella today. We also have foolish. You get to that stage where your music is no longer selling because you're outdated. That's if you don't keep improving yourself, then you're out of business. But if you have that basic education, as of today, basic education is your first degree. You won't have the opportunity to probably go dust your certificate and start looking for a job. That's one. So it gives you an option, a readily available option. Then two, if you pass through the walls of the university, the content you will create is totally different from what others will create. We know some content creators today that can't even speak basic English, right? And so that you just see illiteracy in everything they do because they didn't have that basic foundation. You see it in all their content, and you're going to those websites and you find you're laughing, but you're not adding value. And you can even see it from their content. They are not adding value. Tell me, what do you gain from someone going to jam his Mercedes Benz because the girlfriend said, I don't want to date you anymore? That is content, right? So what did you really learn from it? And some of us listen to Aproko Doctor, right? Obviously, you learn things from his content, right? Because he's educated and he's passing on value to whoever that is listening to him, unlike the other person. So even that education also helps you to be a better YouTuber. That education is that basic education today is your university degree. That is the thing you want to do. That's fine and good, as long as family, that's fine. But You just need that foundation, and that foundation is basic education, which is your degree.
Thank you very much, Sister Chioma. Thank you.
That disappeared after a while, right? As far as 20 years ago, I read a book that said Age of Oil, that predicted by now we will not be using crude oil anymore. We won't be using fuel. Everything will be electric cars. I don't know how many of you felt like that, right? So you see, we are still driving more than 95% of the cars in Nigeria. We are still driving more than 95% of the cars in Nigeria are still possible. If you are passionate about, that makes sense, that think you can do not worry about AI. AI is not going to take it over from you. That's what I want to say.
Thank you very much, sir. Sister Chioma, over to you.
Okay, I think for me, I will take a different direction. The future actually belongs to those that prepare for it. Yeah? So if you want to, those that on a continuous basis, that keeps improving themselves, whatever you know today, have it at the back of your mind. In 5 years' time, it will be irrelevant. So if you want to be relevant in 5 years, you need to decide today to know more than you know today to prepare for 5 years. So just keep learning, yield yourself to continuous learning. Whatever field, whether you're in school, whether you're not in school, for those of you that are already doing fashion, you're not in school yet, there will be time when what you know today will no longer be relevant. If you make that kind of cloth for somebody, the person you refund, right? Because that fashion will be out of place. So you need to continually improve yourself in whatever area you find yourself, wherever you find yourself, whatever you're doing. Keep on improving yourself and never stop.
Thank you very much, Sister Chioma.
I think just want to add to what she has said, because truly she has said it. One of my teachers of blessed memory, James Becklop, said keep preparing. It did not start raining when Noah built the ark. Keep preparing. It did not start raining when Noah built the ark. What that means is that keep preparing. Some things are actually changing. Human being will be needed anyway, anytime. I know you know that I think some countries like Australia, I learned that they have also kind of prescribed that children from age 1 to 16 stay away from phone. So what would they be doing? That means they would get interaction with human being. And some other states in the United States wanted to follow suit. Some in Europe have already started. Meaning that if you put yourself and think that only this, the computer, all of this, at some point that they will make laws that it will affect you, you begin to. Like preachers we are. At some point in time, we do not know how to use the PowerPoint, but today we do. Is it not so? Yeah. So you cannot just keep preparing. Improve yourself in whatever you do. And I know very well, even growing up, that I grew up in the village too, like my brother said. When I left the school from where I was very good anyway. I went to another school. I did not open mouth to talk because those children were from nursery school and they blew English. I came from primary school. They did not know how to. So they did not know I can talk because I just kept quiet and sat down there because so that I would not say anything and they would begin to laugh at me. What am I saying? What I'm saying is this: the children, Lagos State. If you are in Lagos, you are in school, you are fine anytime, any day. But don't take anything for granted. Keep preparing because you might go to a place that you are needed. Keep on read though, because readers are leaders. Leaders, the future belongs to them. And some people used to joke at us is that if you want to hide anything from Africans, put it inside the book and it will be there. But one thing you might also know, when we did education, that one of the things that emancipated us was education. If you go read those that were the founding fathers, go and check them, the Awolowo, the Enahoro, they were school people. And the Ajay Crowder, the one who translated the Yoruba Bible, he translated the Igbo Bible, Ajay Crowder. They were school people. And someone has said that if the colonialists then knew that through education would be free, they would not give us education. But they gave us education. Through that education, we are free. Through that education, we can build on whatever future we want.
Thank you very much, Godwin. I sincerely want to take out time to appreciate our panelists, Bro Chinedu, Sister Chioma, and Brother Godwin, seated here, learned something great. Our prayer and heart desire that the good Lord will continue to strengthen you and enrich you. And also, we, the listeners that have heard, those watching online too, would make it a point of duty to implement and also put into practice what we've learned this evening. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for our panelists. Put your hands together for them. It's really nice to meet you.
Justice to the moderating the class. Also, for those of us who are here, there's going to be refreshments for us, a total of 51. Now we have several people joining us from our streaming services, making it a total of over 100. We're going to take the closing song, and then we are going to take the closing prayer. The closing prayer will be said by our very own brother, Uchenna Odo Abuchi, and we are after